Miishe Addy. I live in Northern California, Bay Area. I'm a transplant from New York. I recently started a company earlier this year. It's a tech-based platform that enables people to exchange services without paying cash. So it's basically a cash-free barter system. It's called SkillTap. And it's already had, this is its second name, it's already had multiple iterations. I was working at a law firm in New York, and I had always wanted to do sort of social impact, social innovation work, but I wasn't sure what I would do or like what role I would play. And so I took some time to get clarity on what it was that I was good at and what it was that I could contribute to that space. We came up with this idea of having a bartering system, and it's actually my youngest sister who had taught in Spain for a couple of years, and during the financial crisis, Spaniards were bartering instead of paying cash for things, and it was sort of like a necessity-based thing. And bartering is the oldest system in the world, so this is not surprising at all, but she introduced that idea as a way to help senior citizens get access to services. I started developing this idea, and I started looking at it more broadly, not just targeting the senior demographic, but looking at people all ages and seeing what is the type of person that can't afford to pay cash for a business consultant to help them with their community garden, or a lawyer to help them with their their employment agreement, that type of thing. What is the type of person who needs this service? And the reality is it's people in their 20s, people in their 30s, sometimes people who have kids who just don't have enough cash flow to throw at a professional service. Sometimes it is the older folks. So I began to expand the demographic, but focus more on what I understand is called a psychographic, which is just it's a circumstances-based profile. The type of user who would use the services is someone who doesn't have the cash to spend on professional services rather than a specific age range. At first, I was relying on a member of the group who had sold a company, an energy-based company in Chicago a couple years ago, because he just knew a lot about entrepreneurship and developing businesses, and he was really helpful in building my confidence that I can kind of get proof of concept before spending a bunch of money on the business. But since then, I've met people in Silicon Valley and reached out to friends of friends, and I just feel like I have a sort of a big advisor group that's helping get this prototype launched, and it should be released in July of this year. So it went from, fuzzy idea based on Spanish bartering to a web platform released this summer in less than a year. Working as a lawyer, an M&A lawyer in New York wasn't any better. In terms of work-life balance, I had probably just as much free time, but the work itself wasn't fulfilling. So it's to work on something you care about passionately, even though you don't get a lot of personal free time, it's just night and day. So if folks are out there working for whatever it is, professional services firms, and you're feeling I don't know if I want to be an entrepreneur because it's a lot of work, you may be working just as hard, but on something you don't care about, and that's probably the worst position to be in. So I think work-life balance isn't great, but it's the work itself that I think is kind of carries me through. I would just say go for it. If you feel like you don't have the credentials, or you don't have the capital, or whatever it is, if you focus on the problem and you listen and you have an open mind and you're empathetic with the people who are using your product or your platform, you will get to a place where you're in the zone. And I just encourage people to take that risk and do it. And I hope that, for folks who are watching your series, they see enough examples of women who are just doing them, that they feel motivated to forget all that nonsense and, work, right?